Today's review is for Joker, a character study and sort of origin story of the iconic DC Comics villain directed by Todd Phillips. And it stars Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, a man who has been completely oppressed by the city of Gotham. And one day, he decides that he can't take it anymore and takes on the persona of Joker. And a bunch of terrible and brutal events ensue. Now, before I start talking about the film itself, I just want to say that, of course, like pretty much every single other DC fan, I am a huge fan of the Joker. I mean, there's no doubt that the Joker is one of the most iconic comic book villains of all time, if not one of the greatest fictional villains of all time. He's gotten so popular that he's also appeared in so many movies, video games, and TV shows. Pretty much just about anything that involved the Batman, or sometimes just DC in general. I mean, there's no doubting it. The character of the Joker is absolutely fantastic. Even in movies, the Joker has proven to be a great antagonist for just about anyone. Actors like Jack Nicholson in Tim Burton's Batman, Mark Hamill in the various Batman animated shows, movies, and video games, Kevin Michael Richardson in The Batman, and John DiMaggio in Batman Under the Red Hood, Cesar Romero in Adam West's Batman, and of course Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, all brought the character to life to perfection, with both Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger being the top two best actors to do so. Although I will agree with people that Jared Leto in Suicide Squad was definitely one of the more weaker aspects of that movie. In fact, I'll just say I agree that, look, I like that movie, but he just was not a good Joker. He was just really awkward. Nothing about him was really scary. He was just really cringingly uncomfortable, and not really in a good way. It was just really awkward. I mean, his laugh was great, I'll give him that, but his performance overall was just awful. So, when it was announced that the actor Joaquin Phoenix was cast to play the character in a spin-off film, which was confirmed to be separated from the current DCEU, meaning that it's not connected to the upcoming Birds of Prey or Suicide Squad sequel, and is actually its own standalone movie, I was definitely curious to say the least. I mean, I love Joaquin Phoenix as an actor in movies like Gladiator and Her and Walk the Line, but I couldn't really imagine him as the Clown Prince of Crime, but even then I was willing to give him a chance. And now I saw it. And I am so happy to say, I think I just found a film better than Avengers Endgame.
Wait, what?
Yes, I did just say that. I love this movie even more than the Infinity War sequel, because this whole movie was just absolutely freaking amazing. Just about everything from the writing, the acting, the music, the cinematography, its use of the R rating as well. Just about everything made this movie an utter work of art, especially with how much it benefited from Joaquin Phoenix's absolutely insane and brilliantly disturbing performance as the Joker. He brought a new and unique sense of dread and humanity to this version of the Clown Prince of Crime. This version of the Joker, Arthur Fleck, just starts off as a sad, lonely man who was just trying to live his life with his single mother and do his job, but he constantly gets screwed over by people who just don't care about people like him. He gets constantly beat up. He gets shot down when trying to make kids happy. He gets humiliated, and the town in general is just incredibly abusive to him. And you can totally see all of that hidden hatred in his eyes and expressions whenever he's on screen. Like whenever he doesn't even speak, you could tell by his face that he was constantly descending into madness. You both in a way feel sympathy for the guy, but in a way you also don't kind of want to, because you understand that what he's doing when he's going full on Joker is wrong, but you still kind of do feel bad for the guy because you understand why he's being pushed to do all these terrible things. And any scene with him after finally reaching his breaking point and becoming the full-on Joker is just pure, absolute insanity. Like, while you're watching him do all these terrible things, like around the third act, you're both terrified by what he's causing because it's so horrifying, but sometimes you're also kind of left laughing at it because of how bizarre it is. And it just makes you not really know how to feel. So that's where you're both terrified and you also find it a little funny. Like, there's a scene in particular that happens during the third act that I was both terrified by, but I just couldn't help but laugh awkwardly. It's that disturbing. And you know what? From what I've heard, both him and director Todd Phillips didn't even base this version of Joker off of any of the other versions. Not even the comics. They just made this completely original new origin for the Joker, and it actually worked perfectly. It basically tells us that society can be worse than a vat of chemicals. Phoenix's Joker, I think, is one of the new top best versions of the character, and I probably consider him the second best live-action version of the Joker alongside Heath Ledger. And I totally hope he gets an Oscar for this absolutely brilliant performance. He was outstanding. Well done, Joaquin Phoenix. You truly have sent in the clowns. Also, I really need to give credit to Todd Phillips' brilliant directing. I mean, he gave this film such an eerie yet beautiful style. Like, it's dark and eerie, but it also has a lot of color to it. I mean, this film, there's no real big way on how to explain it. Just look at it. I mean, this whole film is just absolutely beautiful. And I need to give Phillips serious kudos. He did a fantastic job. I also loved the musical score by Hildur. I can't really pronounce her name. Here it is on the screen. But yes, this woman composes this entire film with such a great sense of dread, sadness, and even twisted happiness. And her score just brings so much extra humanity in the character of the Joker and how he slowly changes from a man into a monster. And I also hope that she too gets an Oscar for the brilliant work she did scoring this movie. Also, I just want to say this before I kind of wrap this up. It's just that this film also has a really bizarre and also kind of sad sense of comedy. Like there's this one scene which I will not spoil, but it basically involves a midget, and well, it's funny, but at the same time it's also just terrible, and it just makes you sad. It makes you laugh inappropriately, okay? That's how I'll put it. So, yes, Joker was an absolutely amazing film that wasn't worried about being faithful to comics and just straight up told its very own original story about how one of the greatest DC villains of all time came to be the man he was. And it did so in the best way it possibly could. Joaquin Phoenix brought the Clown Prince of Crime to life to perfection. The look of the movie was absolutely amazing. The music was absolutely mesmerizing. The acting from the rest of the cast as well was great. I mean, Robert De Niro as the talk show host Murray Franklin was really funny at times. It had a few really great twists and turns. And overall, it was probably DC's best cinematic achievement since Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. And I would honestly be surprised if a sequel to this film were to get made, because I really have no idea how they could possibly follow up this film at all. I mean, I think it's actually another film that I feel is so good, it doesn't really need a sequel. I really feel that. It's that good. Please do go see this movie. Don't let any possible news about mass shooting hesitate you from seeing it. Seriously, just go watch the movie. It is amazing. It will absolutely be worth your time. I'm going to give Joker a 10 out of 10. And you know what? I honestly think Joaquin Phoenix should have honestly been cast as the Joker like years ago, like in Suicide Squad, instead of Jared Leto. Because, again, I like that movie. But again, Phoenix would have made that film even better had they casted him as Joker in that movie instead of Leto. I mean, I seriously do believe that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you next time, and remember... rich